Not long ago, I challenged myself to platinum the Crash Bandicoot Trilogy in just 48 hours. After that, I started looking for my next big challenge, and one of you suggested I try the Spyro Trilogy. But here's the thing, 48 hours felt way too safe, so I decided to up the difficulty. 3 games, 3 platinums, in only 24 hours, and all in one sitting. So the challenge wasn't just about the speed run, it was an endurance run as well. Can I push through the grind, stay awake and finish all 3 before the clock runs out? Or will Spyro burn me out before I reach the last platinum? Let's find out. Before jumping into the games, I did a little bit of prep to save time during the run. Nothing too crazy, as I still wanted to feel like a natural playthrough, so the gameplay won't be a full-on speed run using the best strats. So just like I did with Crash, I made a checklist of every level in each game along with all the trophies and the requirements. I also added a few quick notes to avoid wasting time looking up things mid-run, though I will admit I still had to check a guide once or twice, so definitely worth having those links ready. But with the prep done and the games installed, it was time to dive in and see if I could really pull this off and get all 3 platinums in 24 hours. I start with Spyro 1, and the Spyro games are mainly about collecting, and it's different items in each game, but one item that's always the same is the gems. There are a lot of gems to collect, but luckily we can use Sparks or Dragonflight to help find any I do miss. At the start of the game, Spyro's dropped into the first homeworld, Artisans, and we free our first dragon that is trapped in crystal. And doing so starts a dialogue explaining what happened and what we can do to help, but I press triangle, skip all that, can't be wasting time. Now we are on the clock, and I have 3 games to beat. I will be doing that for all the dialogue in all the games. With the first dragon free, I run to the left, quickly free another one and hop on the rocks in the water, which once done earns the first trophy, hop, skip and jump. This is for unlocking a hidden entrance to Sunny Flight, and I jump straight in to take on the level. Sunny Flight is the first of the flying levels in the game, and these are what I thought I would struggle with, as you need to destroy or fly through obstacles in the level within the time limit to 100% the level. And there isn't really a set path to follow for this. You're able to start with whichever you want and finish with whichever objective you want, but luckily I somehow get the first one done on my first try. Sunny Flight is the only level that doesn't have a trophy directly linked to it, but there is still one you can earn, and that is Barnstormer. For this, Spyro needs to loop around an arch, so I go back into the level and fly towards the bridge and then do a loop around the arch, earning the trophy. I then collected some more gems in Arts and Homeworld, failed to glide to a platform with some gems, and then entered the next level, Dark Hollow. Here was pretty simple, just run around collecting the gems, freeing all the dragons in the level. The trophy I needed here though was for lighting both bonfires in the level, which is at the bottom of a set of stairs we need to go up. And once lit, I get the trophy. This was also where I found out my mic was not coming through on stream, because I thought I would be clever and only record gameplay audio for footage and keep the stream separate, which didn't work at all. Luckily, Sebi messaged me to let me know something was up and I got it sorted, because that would have been a bit of an awkward stream if it had gone on for a while. So with the problem sorted, I finished getting the rest of the gems and dragons in this level and exit. Back into Artisans now and collecting more gems while making my way through to the 3rd level. I managed this time though to land on the ledge by the little hill and collect the gems there. No idea why I found it so hard earlier. I then gradually made my way to the 3rd level, Town Square. Town Square, as with all other levels, again requires collecting all the gems and dragons. So I'll try not to keep saying that I'm collecting the gems, as I'll start to sound like a broken record. But there is a new item in this one for Spyro to collect, and the level exploration here now requires a little bit more timing on the glide. This is because of one platform of the level that actually has a trophy for reaching it, and the trophy is for gliding to the secret egg area. So just climb the stairs and jump off the ledge at the top and glide down to the wall below. The trophy then pops when Spyro's landed safely. Now it's time to chase the egg thief to catch him and save the dragon egg. The way I did this was charge around the path, and when he drops off the ledge, I use Spyro's flame, so as the thief jumps up, you catch him with a flame and save the egg. With the Town Square 100%ed, it went back to the homeworld, collecting a few more gems, and then going into the last level, Stone Hill. Stone Hill needed all items as usual and has the 2nd dragon egg for us to collect, but also has a locked chest where I know exactly where the key is in this, and it's because I'd watched the first couple of minutes of 100% speedrun just because it interested me on how they actually get some of these games done so quickly. The trophy here is also nice and easy. All I need to do is flame 10 sheep in the level. Usually you would only do this to get some health back for Spyro, but if it's for the trophy, you'll get it done straight straight away. With all the levels in Artisan 100% completed now, it was time to take on the boss, so I collected gems on the way and head to the big stone dragon head, which opens its mouth, revealing the boss level entrance. Here I get caught out a few times by the sheepdog enemies as they take 2 hits to beat, so they were able to hurt Spyro before I could get them a second time. I do eventually learn to back away after the first hit and then get to the boss. When I reach the boss, I have to be careful as the trophy for the level is to defeat the boss Toasty without getting hit. But it's not that difficult at all. Get the sheepdog enemies beaten first, then flame Toasty to move on. Do this 2 more times and the trophy drops, opening the exit with the remaining gems to 100% the level. Straight back into Artisans now, and it was time to move to the next world, so I make my way to the dock with a hot air balloon, collecting the last gems of the level on the way to get the 100%. The hot air balloons in the game all have their own requirements to meet to allow Spyro to move on to the next world, but because I'm finishing each level 100% before going, we don't need to pay attention to it, as Spyro will always meet the requirements, and we get a trophy for the first balloon ride as well. So far so good though, just over 30 minutes into the challenge and 1 out of 6 worlds are fully complete, and 7 out of 37 trophies earned, so it's now on to Peacekeepers. When I arrive at Peacekeepers, I head straight to Dry Canyon while grabbing some gems along the way, and in Dry Canyon the trophy needed here is Bird Brained, and for this all I need to do is charge a vulture, which can be done very early in the level, and when the level is 100%ed again, I exit and go back to Peacekeepers for the next trophy. Back in the homeworld, and the next trophy I was after is to shoot the moon. This needs Spyro to shoot a toned-in Nook with a cannon. To do this, Spyro needs to scare the Nooks into the tent. Once inside, burn the tent, but leave the Nook unharmed. Then turn the cannon to face them and fire. I then cleaned up most of the gems and collectibles in the homeworld before jumping into the next level, Cliff Town, which has another trophy involving the vultures. But this time, Spyro needs to flame every vulture in the level, and they're all located up on the high cliff, so I explore most of the level first. Then when I get to the highest point, I glide over to the high cliff, flame all the vultures there, earning the trophy once the last one was hit. Next level for Spyro was the Ice Cavern, and here we need to defeat 3 skiing Nooks in the level for the next trophy, and this is a hard trophy to miss when going for the 100%, as you need to defeat all the enemies in the level to get all the gems anyway, but they're not hard to find, especially with Sparks' help. And once done, I can move on to the next level, Night Flight. Night Flight is, as the name suggests, another flying level, and this one seems a lot easier to complete, mainly because the path is pretty much given to the player. Spyro starts right in front of the first objective, and that is the rings to fly through, then onto the chest, arches, and finally lighting the lighthouses. This was again all done in my first attempt at the level, but I did need to retry this one as well for a trophy. The trophy Hot Wings 1 is in Night Flight and requires Spyro to flame all 3 fairies in the level. The first is just to the right as we fly through the cave with the rings. Next is near the chest after the rings, and then finally the third is near one of the lighthouses. And once the third one was flamed, I got another trophy. It was now time to take on the second boss of the game, and the trophy for this one was a lot easier. All Spyro needed to do was unlock the strong chest in the level, so I explored the level defeating the enemies and collecting the gems and the key for the lockbox. I free the dragon and then take on Doc Shemp. This boss was a little bit more difficult compared to the first one, but not too bad. He is too big to charge and has a metal plate in his stomach protecting him, so to damage him, Spyro has to flame him from behind. Each time he runs off to the next platform, and on the third time he is beaten. All that was left then was to unlock the locked chest for the trophy, and then collect the last of gems within that chest for the 100%, going straight back to the homeworld to collect the last of gems there before moving on to Magic Crafters. 30 of the trophies done for the game in 1 hour and 10 minutes and moving on to the third world in the game, so making some really good progress early on, and it's a really good start as I want to give myself some extra time for when I'm tired and potentially struggling to focus later on. As soon as Spyro enters the Magic Kingdom, there is a trophy that can be earned. For this I need to charge through 4 armored druids in one go. Right after freeing the dragon, there are 4 easily lined up, so I make sure to line Spyro up correctly and charge straight through them, grabbing another trophy. From there it was straight into Alpine Ridge, and the trophy here is nice and easy. I say that like there have been any difficult trophies to earn at this point, but for this one I just had to detonate 3 explosive chests in the level, all of which are located on 3 separate platforms. So to stay safe while doing it, I ignite the first one, jump to the next before it detonates, and at the last platform jump back to the previous one, earning the trophy. Next, I dive straight into high caves, and here I need to defeat all the metal back spiders. The spiders can actually be found right at the start in a cave behind where you enter, but they can't be beaten by Spyro's normal flame or charge. So I work my way through the level the long way around, grabbing the gems and dragons along the way as usual, and eventually get to a charge powered up pad. This is to help Spyro reach the other side of the level using the ramp at the bottom of the charge pad, but it can also be used to defeat some of the spiders. So charge on the pad and power up charging through the caves with the spiders, defeating a few of them, but there is also another way to beat them in the level, and that is by getting the super flame power up, which I get by exploring the cave a little bit more, avoiding some of the spiders and getting to the fairy at the top, which gives us the power up. But it is a timed one, so I have to be quick and run to use it on the remaining spiders, and with the use of both power ups I grab the trophy and exit the level once I get the 100%. Back in the homeworld now, and I go and grab a key for a locked chest and make my way back to the entrance for the high caves to glide to another chest. I then use the charge pad, same entrance, to break open another locked metal chest, and after all that I jump straight into another flying level, Crystal Flight. This level I thought I'd messed up and wasn't going to get it done in my first attempt. I drop into the level, destroy a few different bits and didn't really path it correctly, so I decided at least grab the trophy in this attempt by flaming both the fairies holding the arrows in the level. But once done, I still had a bit of time left on the clock, so I thought I would still see if I could get the level done, or at least perhaps work out a path for it, and much to my surprise I managed to get everything done and still have 9 seconds to spare, so I can't have done as bad as I thought. From there, it was straight into Wizard Peak, and the trophy here is to defeat the hidden egg thief, and you need to use the charge boost ramp to reach this one. This is done by running down one of the ramps, back up to another, and jumping right at the top so Spyro clears the wall and gets enough height to land on the tower platform in the distance. The egg thief then is just standing on the ledge behind the wall. Thankfully, we don't need to chase him here, as I don't think I'd have been able to do that. And with the egg thief beaten, the trophy drops, and I clean the rest of the level up, and I'm only left with the boss level now for this world. The boss level is a very easy trophy, and all I actually need to do is collect all 400 gems in the level. So I make my way around, defeating the enemies and the boss, getting right to the exit, only to find out I'm missing 5 gems of the 400. Luckily, Sparks is able to point me in the direction of the missing gems. I have no idea how I missed it, but it was only one single gem worth 5, luckily, and not 5 separate gems. And once collected, the trophy dropped, and I exit the level and take the hot air balloon to the next homeworld, Beastmakers. 3 worlds completed and just under 2 hours into the challenge. Things were looking good at this point. I haven't come to a point that actually challenged me yet, but I was sure that would change soon enough. After collecting the gems and the dragon at the start of the homeworld, I enter the level Terrace Village. The trophy in this level is actually one you could easily miss on the first playthrough of it if you're not aware of what it is and not careful, as you have to set off 3 different fireworks all within 15 seconds. 2 of them are on top of a platform you need to glide to from further in the level, but the first is on the floor. So ignore that one on the floor, get to the platform to glide from, and as soon as I light the first one, I quickly light the second and third. At first I think I didn't do it, I wasn't fast enough because the trophy didn't pop instantly, but I was relieved when it did and finished the level to move on to the next. Misty Bog is the next level, and I needed to free a trapped chicken, and I wasn't sure where this would be done within the level, but spotted a chicken at the start, so followed him around and flamed him and then spotted the cage. So jumped in the water to refresh the level by dying, and this time I let the chicken get caught to then free it for the trophy, only to find out later in the level that there was more chickens, so it didn't have to make Spyro die. But never mind, finish the level and move on. Back in the Beastmaker's homeworld now, and originally I was going to try and get the trophy for this one as I was going in and out of the levels, as I needed to flame 5 glowing mushrooms. But I did then have a thought of, what if it resets every time I enter and leave a level? So I decided with the safe option to run around the level, grabbing the gems along the way, flaming all 5 glowing mushrooms, and earn the trophy once done. I then move on to the next level in the game, Wild Flight. Wild Flight is the first one I didn't manage to get done in my first attempt. I missed out on a board at the start and also missed a few other bits I took a couple of tries to actually get. And at this point I knew the attempt was more or less a fail. The next one went a lot better, and finished it with 15 seconds left on the clock. Because I did it without touching the ground, I also get a trophy for the level. On the treetops then, and this is one I remember from my first time going for this platinum. I did think I'd have fun trying to work out the platforming here, as I knew it involved using multiple charge pads in jumps to reach some of the areas in the level. So I do some exploring, use the charge pads, and do so and manage to work out fairly easily what I needed to do for it, even though one of them isn't obvious straight away. But when I have used all of them, I get a trophy, finish the level to move on to the boss world. Into Metalhead now, and just like the last boss level, this one needs me to collect all the gems in the level for the trophy. And this wasn't too bad. It did take a second to actually work out what I needed to do to beat the boss, but once I worked that out, he was easy to beat, and then grabbing all the gems, including the ones in the more secretive part of the level, got me the trophy, and that was all the levels in this homeworld done. Dreamer was next now, and I make my way to the first level in the area, Haunted Towers. The trophy in this level is easy to do, and most of it will be done naturally, and that is to defeat all tin soldiers. They aren't able to be beaten by standard flame or charge from Spyro. We need to make sure to grab the super flame from the fairies in the level. There's one group of these enemies though that are at the top of flight of stairs that are so annoying to beat, as you have to get to the top of the stairs just before the last one's arisen to be able to get past them and grab the super flame. Otherwise you're just blocked off and have to leave the area and come back. But once the last one is beaten, the trophy drops and I get to finish the level and leave. Straight onto Dark Passage, and in here I needed to defeat 3 demon dogs when they were in their large form. So I just had to make sure not to beat them too quick, and once they transform I use the flame attack as they're too big to charge into, and it's not that far into the level before I get all 3 of them done and get the trophy, leaving me with a bit to collect in the level before I can actually exit and move on, but it doesn't take me too long to do that. When I do get back to the home world, it was onto the trophy for there next, and this I needed to charge to 3 armored fools in a row. A bit similar to the one in the Magic Crafters, but there's one difference here, and that is that they can be changed to a larger form. So I line Spyro up and wait for them all to be turned small again, and charge straight through them, grabbing the trophy for doing so. I then clean up the rest of the gems in this homeworld, getting the 100%, and then jump straight into Icy Flight. Now this level is more like I thought the flying levels would go for me. The first attempt was a straight fail. I couldn't work out the best path and also failed another 3 times. It wasn't until my 5th time attempting the level that I finally got the path worked out. Nearly failed at the start by flying into the lighthouse, but kept my composure and beat it, earning the trophy as well for doing it without touching the floor. I did think the lighthouse landing would have counted as touching the floor though. Straight into Lofty Castle next, and another trophy for charging through multiple enemies again, but they're easy enough to spot and all in a nice line, so charge straight through them to grab the trophy, finishing up to move on to Jack's boss level. In here though, there's a trophy for defeating 4 nightmare beasts in one glide, so I keep an eye out for where this could possibly be while working my way through the level. And I did try it in one spot, but that didn't work as I couldn't glide far enough for it. But after I defeat the boss and explore the level a bit more, I locate the actual spot the trophy was intended for, glide past and defeat all 4, getting all 4 nightmare beasts, getting the trophy and finishing the level to move on to the last world in the game, Nasty's World. Now this is where it's a little bit different to previous homeworlds, and that is because from the start you can only enter one level, and then when you beat that one, the next one unlocks. So the first one we can enter is North Cove, and for this I had to complete the level without killing any rats. And for that I was just really careful, working my way around, grabbing everything along the way and making sure I didn't actually flame or hit a rat as I did. I then find the exit and pop the trophy, going back to then finish the level and exit. Now it's here I'm going to point out I've been exiting some of the levels using the pause menu if I didn't have everything collected when I actually reached the exit platform. So I did the same thing on this level to get back to the homeworld, only to find out that the door for the next level didn't open. So I had to progress through the level again to take the official exit to progress. I made sure to do this then for the rest of the levels in the world, not to make the same mistake twice. Twilight Harbour was next though, and this had a trophy in it that I actually had to look up while attempting, and that is to destroy 6 gears in the level. These are not in obvious spots either, and if it wasn't for the guide I would have been stuck on the level for a good while. But once the last gear was destroyed, I had finished another level, but this time made sure to go through the exit portal to unlock the next one. It was now time to take on the final boss of the game, Nasty Nook himself. And here, the fight is broken up into stages, as usual. But I need to make sure not to attack him when he's running around a loop in this level, as the trophy needs Nasty Nook to complete 5 laps. But as soon as that is done and the trophy drops, we can hit him and then get to the end of the level to beat him. Now Nasty Nook has been beaten, a new dragon appears in Nasty's homeworld who we can free, and he tells us to come back when we have the 100% for the game. This is to unlock the last level we need. But I was already doing this, I just had to speak to him again and unlock the last level, earning the trophy for doing so. And all that was left now was one trophy. Get all the gems to that level, Nasty's loot. Here, Spyro can fly, but it is limited to what height he can fly up to until you get a key from the egg thief at that height level. So I slowly work my way up to the top, collecting all the gems along the way, and reach the final room with the last of all the gems, which once collected, earned the last trophy, and with it the first platinum in the challenge. And this is just over 4.5 hours in. So far the challenge was going good, only 4.5 hours in and 1 platinum down. But I couldn't do this at the time, but now the challenge is done, I can see where I place in the fastest achievers list for Spyro 1. I do make it in the top 100, does surprise me. It was straight into Spyro 2, and there is a little bit of a change to the games, as I'm now not always able to get the 100% in a level on the first playthrough of it. And this is because there are 3 abilities that you need to unlock in the game, so I made sure to make a note of which ones I need to go back for, not to waste too much time in the level on the first playthrough. Starting the game with the first level instead of the homeworld this time, and I need the climb ability to be able to get the 100%, so I do explore a bit of it to reduce what cleanup is needed when backtracking, and encounter a character I think a lot of people dislike in the Spyro games, that is Moneybags. You know, when you saw him you were going to have to pay up for something. But I move through the rest of the level and get to the end, and before I take the exit I go outside to grab the first trophy for the game, and this was for lighting all 6 of the gem lamps in 15 seconds. This is done using the flight power up and flaming them as I go past. I did think I wasn't going to get this on the first try, but the trophy popped, so I was relieved on that one. I also made sure to grab one of the orbs by completing the minigame for it, and the orbs are the new collectible in the game instead of the dragons, and are not that important at the start, but you do need them at the end, and you need them for the 100% anyway. Same in Spyro 1, I will just collect as much of them as I can now to save time later, and then just leave what I can't to backtrack for. Once what I could do for now is done, I leave the first level and head to the homeworld. Here we are introduced to some new friendly characters, and one of them has a challenge for us. The challenge isn't really a challenge, and it's mainly a tutorial for jumping and gliding mechanics in the game. But Spyro 2 does have a new one in it, and that's to have it at the end of a jump for a second, which does give him a little bit of height or distance at the end of the jump. And once we get the last platform with Hunter, he gives us an all-pro reward, and I earn my second trophy. Next then I jump straight into the Colossus, as this is able to be 100%ed straight away. Spyro needs more gems at this point to be able to buy the first ability, which is to swim underwater. So I explore and take out the enemies, collecting the gems along the way. I was onto the orbs then, and this level has got the minigame I remember the most, and that is the ice hockey. It is not a particularly difficult minigame, as you just need to score 5, which is easy enough. Grab the puck, aim for the corner, and spit it out. Really simple. And then for the second orb, they just add another character for you to compete against, and a goalie for yourself, which again, flame the character to knock him over, pick up the puck and spit it into the goal. And I make sure I 100% of the level before leaving, making it the first one I didn't need to return to. Or at least I thought it was. Once back at the homeworld, I buy the swim ability from Moneybags and head straight into the level Idle Springs. And this is when I actually realised I had missed something in Colossus level, and that was the trophy connected to it, the main thing that we need for this challenge. So that's an unnecessary backtracking, which isn't the best start for the second game. But I continue with the idle level for now, and so as to not make the same mistake, I get the trophy done first. So I start with the dive into the water to find a stuck worker in a room with a puzzle, quickly solve that to get him to move to the hungry idol outside. And this is where I can earn the trophy for the level, making sure I don't feed the idol any red fish, which is really simple. Just pay attention to what fish jump out and only flame the blue and yellow ones, and when it's done the trophy drops. Finished the rest of the level grabbing the orbs and the gems, made my way to the exit to go straight back into the Colossus and charge a goat, earning another trophy, which I wouldn't have needed to do if I'd actually paid attention the first time it was there. Really not a good start. Sunny Beach is next. This is a level I'm not able to complete until much later, so instead I focus on just getting the main part of the level finished to get the talisman at the end of it and leave the rest when I actually need to come back to 100% it later, including the trophy for the level, as I can't actually get that now. The next trophy I can earn is in Hurricos, which is where I go next, and this is for defeating all the robots in the level, which isn't too bad. I then do a little bit of platforming to get 2 orbs in the level and get another one by beating enemies and returning electric orbs to where they're needed. I then make my way to the exit with another level ticked off. There's only 2 levels left now in the first world for me to beat before I can take on the first boss. So I dive into the Aquaria Towers next, and the aim of this level is to fill the world up with water, and the more you add, the higher the water level rises, opening up more of the levels. The mini games here weren't too bad either, just had to do 2 for Hunter and 1 for a Seahorse to get the orbs, but the most important part of this level was to defeat enemies throughout to power up the Super Flame Gate, and this is because the trophy for the level needed Spyro to defeat all the big shark enemies in the level, and without the Super Flame, Spyro is helpless against them. But with the power up unlocked, we can now destroy all of them. When the last one is destroyed, then I get another trophy. The last level of this area now, and it's a flying level, and this one was fairly easy, straightforward. The path is basically given to you at the start. You fly through all the rings first, onto the gates next, which finish right back at the beginning with the boats. So I take all of the boats out, and then next I feel I have plenty of time here, so I even flame all the audience for the trophy in this run and finish up by destroying all the cars, and that's everything then done in my first attempt. But I hadn't actually completed the level yet. Next, it was replay and to take on the orb challenge from the audience, which was to beat Hunter in a race through rings. But when Hunter flies through one, it will shrink, so you have to be quick. It took me a good few tries to get it done, as I wasn't sure where he would go next or where the rings were, as I was trying to beat him. But if I got out in front and took a wrong turn, he could get a ring without me realizing, and then it would close and I would fail. But I eventually worked out and got the best path for me and beat him for the orb. Now I was straight back to homeworld to take on the boss, as I had already done most of what I could do here, except for the parts I need to return for later when I have the necessary abilities unlocked. So at the entrance of Crusher Dungeon, I drop in to take him on, and here I would be going for a trophy as well, which is to complete the fight without hurting fodder. And the easiest way to get this done is just not get hit. I would like to say it's easier said than done as well, but I was able to achieve it on my first attempt at the level and get the trophy, unlocking the next homeworld. When I arrive in the new homeworld, I explore it first, collecting some gems and purchase a portal to Zephyr from Moneybags. I then purchase the ability to climb next, and finally the portal to Icy Speedway. I then jump straight in and take on the Speedway first. The trophy for Icy Speedway needs me to defeat all the snowmobiles before any hang gliders, and my first attempt at the level doesn't go well. I do get the trophy, but fail at the timing of it. To be honest, I'm lucky I went back and flamed the hang glider, which is when the trophy actually dropped. I did then retry the level, and on the second attempt beat it with ease. I then had to complete Hunter's Orb mission, which was also a bit frustrating as I failed a good few times again. Getting Spyro to go through one of the rings was a nightmare, but eventually I got Spyro to fly through it and get the orb as a reward at the end. It was then on to Shady Oasis, but this is another level I won't be able to 100% at this point in the game, so instead I play it safe and just finish the level while also making sure not to touch the hazardous water here. And when I reach the end, I get a trophy for doing it and move on to the next level, Fracture Hills. And here I'm unable to get the trophy or 100% the level. I do spend some time collecting most of the gems, and I did finish a side mission to guide the alchemist through the free Hunter and protect him from the big stone golems, and get an orb for doing so, and at least the Hunter will be free ready for when I return with the head smash ability. I jumped straight into Scorch level next, and this one has a few bits to do in it, so I get to the end of the level after raising the flags on the way. I also completed Hunter's side mission to help him catch monkeys in a barrel, and then had to take on Bob and not get hit for the trophy. To do this, I needed to use a super flame and aim up and shoot him. The first hit worked, but then the next stage wouldn't trigger, so I had to exit back out, jump back into the level, defeat the enemies all over again to power up the super flame, and this time, thank God, I was able to progress it and beat him without getting hit for the trophy. Metro Speedway next, and the trophy here is very easy to get, as all I need to do is flame all the pigeons in the level. but I wasn't able to get all the objectives completed on the first run. It took another attempt to get that done. Then it was on to the orb mission, which needed me to follow Hunter and grab bags as they fell before they hit the floor. This again took a couple of tries to know the path in and where the bags would fall from, but I do actually get it done. Taking another level off is complete on my list. Straight into Zephyr now, and here we are helping bugs defend themselves from birds, and the trophy for this level is to use a cannon that can be found dotted around all over the place to shoot a TNT throwing bird. And as soon as I could, I make sure to shoot one with the cannon. But I don't pick an easy one to shoot at, and almost straight after the one I actually go for, there's a much easier one to shoot just sitting there. But never mind, as long as I get the trophy, I'm not really bothered. This level did have a side mission as well that I did find incredibly frustrating and annoying. I need to bring back the lost cattle to their pen, and it's just time consuming. They move slowly but can be sped up with a flame, but that also can be a setback using it if they fall off the platform ledge. Finally then, once it was done, the rest cleaned up, I was able to move on to the Skelos Badlands. This is the level I remember most from my time in the game from when I was younger though, back on the PS1 days. And this is all because of the side mission to defend the villagers from the dinosaurs as they hatch from eggs. And I was already thinking that this was going to be a little bit of a pain to get done, but to my surprise I was able to get the first one done on my first attempt, and then more eggs get dropped in, so I go straight into the second one. Unfortunately I'm not able to get it done on the first attempt as I miss one of the dinosaurs and he gets in and eats a villager. I was able to correct my mistake luckily the second time round and get all the dinosaurs before they actually eat anyone. While exploring the rest of the level to get the gems, I failed my attempt for the trophy because I needed to not touch lava, but I fall in, get burned, so I run around to get 100% of the level and then exit and jump straight back in, speeding through it, but being extra careful not to touch any lava this time, and as soon as I get to the end, I get the trophy. Crystal Glacier now, and here I thought I had failed the trophy, which is for actually defeating the Drakelets in one super flight. And to be honest, I did technically fail it. Right at the end of the first run, I fell on the floor and also went through the super flight power up again before I got the last Drakelet and got the orb. And to my surprise, the trophy popped, which I was not expecting as it was clearly not all in one run. But with the time still ticking away and me needing to do this quickly, I'm not going to complain about that. But with this level done, I did move on to the next one, which did actually take some time to get right. Breeze Harbour. Here there's a level I thought would be fun and not too challenging. I remember this one being the one with the minecart minigame and was actually looking forward to taking this one on. But I really regret having that thought. I kept making silly mistakes when on the track, and although I didn't take an extreme amount of time to get it done, which it was just about 10 minutes to complete the minigame, which is not too bad. But when most of the levels themselves were taking around that amount of time to beat all of it, spending it all on one minigame, it is not good. I was relieved to finally have earned the trophy and be able to move on from this level, but I am hoping at this point this is my last bit of trouble I encounter. One more level left before the next boss fight, so into a magma cone I go, and as usual I run around defeating enemies, grabbing gems and taking on the minigames for the orbs. And there is one minigame with Hunter, which is where the trophy is for this level, and to earn it I need to steal a popcorn crystal from Hunter just as it shoots up out of the ground. So I follow him around and miss the first two, so go grab some without him to get ahead of him in points, and then by chance I jump straight past him and steal a popcorn crystal as it comes up. I then beat him for the first orb and then the second, clearing the level again before exiting and making my way to take on the next boss, Gulp. I went into this boss fight with full of confidence and had every reason to. I got the first platinum of the 3 in just over 4.5 hours. I beat the first boss in Spyro 2 without getting hit and was only 9 hours into the challenge and nearing the end of the second game. But it won't be long before the confidence for this level and its trophy faded and frustration started to take its place. So the trophy here is exactly the same as the first boss, and that is to beat the boss without harming any fodder. And the arena doesn't have any in until Spyro takes damage. And the eggs that the weapons to damage Gulp are dropped in can then have fodder dropped in with them. If they appear, they will also be eaten by Gulp, so it's not just a case of avoiding them once they appear. So, as with the previous one, the best idea again is just not to take any damage while fighting him. But this time it is actually easier said than done. In the first few attempts, I needed to learn his attacks and how to deal with each of them to not get damaged, but that was proving difficult, I was taking damage and not dealing much of it. If I took too much damage at the beginning of the fight, I would just jump in the lava to restart it faster. I did get really close a few times early on, and he had one bit of health left, but the eggs that were dropped had the chickens in them, and I was unable to damage him before I died. Even if I avoided the attack, I still would have needed to restart it if he ate one of them chickens. The worst death, however, was when he crushed me when I charged to grab a rocket. But it did entertain the guys on stream at least, so I suppose that is a benefit. After nearly 30 minutes of fighting him, I finally beat Gulp without any thought of getting hurt, earning the trophy. This took me way longer than it should have to get done, and it's where I started to think of the possibility of failing this challenge, as it was only going to get harder the more tired I got. Now I had unlocked the third and final homeworld though, I was able to buy the last ability for Spyro, the head smash. I then had to decide if I was to keep going through the level or go back for the ones I needed to finish off and then come back to the end. So I make the decision to go back to Summer Forest and grab the orb I was missing from there, and then head straight into Glimmer and clean up the gems and the orb on the top of the ladder in the level, and was then only left with Sunny Beach in the first homeworld. Sunny Beach had a lot more for me to clean up as well. I had all the orbs and a good few gems to get here, but I also had a trophy I needed to get, and that is because the minigame it was from was at the top of the ladder at the end of the level. In this minigame there is a boiling pot of water, and all Spyro has to do is stop the turtles going into it, but for the trophy I need to do it by only headbutting the turtles and nothing else. I was thinking this was going to be a little bit awkward, but it turned out to be a little bit easier than I thought. I didn't fail an attempt or lose a turtle while only using the charge move to headbutt them, and once I'd finished the cleanup for this one, that was the first homeworld and all its levels 100% completed. I go back to Autumn Plains next for the last of the cleanup, and first it's to get an orb and a trophy. I go all the way through the homeworld to just before the boss door, breaking down the wall there and opening up a hidden path. I follow it to get the highest point and then find the platform that has an orb bouncing on it, glide all the way across, grabbing the orb and earning the trophy for doing so. I then return back to Fracture Hills, and I was ready to defeat all the Golem enemies now. I was going to be able to help Hunter with the last few, so I go through defeating the others first, then get a Hunter, only to see I needed to free him from the stones again. So I have to make my way through the area with the Alchemist again, which was really annoying, and when Hunter was free, finally I helped him defeat the last of the Golems, getting a trophy and an orb for doing it. I then finished the rest of the cleanup, going into Shady Springs and getting the last of the gems and the orbs in the level. Now I had Head Smash. I was also able to complete the mission to free the hippos, and once Shady Springs was all done, it was back to Autumn Plains to grab an orb that was hidden behind the wall that I'd missed the first time I was there, and then it was back to Winter Tundra to finish up the rest of the levels and platinum the game. When back in Winter Tundra, I explored a little bit first and then started to head smash some of the rocks, getting an orb hidden in a large rock, and then when the last one was broken, I got another trophy. I then take on the first level of the world, Mystic Marsh, and explored it, grabbing all gems and making sure to only charge attack the monkeys, as this is what the trophy required in this level. But once the trophy dropped, there was still plenty to do. I had to chase down some thieves and help the professor get another pencil, and then finish collecting the gems before leaving. Cloud Temples straight after, and this level did annoy me, but not for the reason most of you may think. The trophy here is nice and easy to get done, providing you don't get hurt, as you need to beat the level without hitting any sheep. And that's simple. I even followed Agent Zero to his clubhouse, all of which went smoothly. The part of the level that annoyed me was the next orb mission, which needed the ice flame to freeze enemies into platforms to get to new areas in the level. Only problem is that some of them are frozen, not in the way I needed, so I had to exit the level, re-enter to go through it all again. Thankfully though, this time it worked and I could 100% the level. Otherwise, it would have been a horrible reason to lose a challenge because of a glitch. Then on to Robotico Farms, and here I need to defeat all Robo Bees by spitting, and this is done by using the yellow balls that can be found around the farm on the floor. I explore the level, keeping my eye out for the bees, and if I can't see a yellow ball nearby to spit at them, I make my way back to the last one I remember seeing and use it. And then when the last one is defeated, the trophy pops and I can just clean up the rest of the level for all the orbs and the gems before I can move on to the next. Metropolis is next, and this is last but one level in the world, and I thought the trophy here was going to be nice and simple. Defeat the ox without taking a hit, and after working my way through the level and finding the ox, I stepped up to take him on, fully convinced I was going to beat him and get the trophy with ease. But I was wrong about that. I was standing on the edge of the ice trying to blast the bombs back at him, failing, and then I get hit in the process. So I go in, let him kill me to restart the level, and this allows me to still earn the trophy as it counts as a new encounter. This time though, I did the correct thing and stepped out onto the ice and stood right in front of the ox, blasting all the bombs back at him, beating him very easily and getting the trophy. Now all I had left was one level and the homeworld to 100%. I finished the homeworld cleanup by first grabbing all the gems as well as the orb that's sitting on the wall, and then the one that's also on top of the waterfall by going through the secret path and ending up right next to the last level, Canyon Speedway. This is the last flying level of the game now, and this one was going well to begin with. I got all the goats and the rings, but then I bumped into the wall when chasing the cars and nearly failed there. I got back onto the track to get the trophy for charging through 5 buggies in the level, but I wasn't able to get all the objectives done in time. The second time round though was a lot better. I didn't crash going for the buggies, leaving plenty of time for me to get the birds and finish the level off. I then retried just to grab the orb in the level by completing Hunter's mission, using a spaceship he has to shoot down all the targets as it flies through the level. And when this was done, that was everything 100% completed, and all I had left to do now was take on the final boss. I run to take on Ripto since this is a time challenge, and when taking him on, all I need to do is make sure to use each of the 3 power-ups at least once during the fight for the trophy, and the power-ups received all depend on the last orb color that is picked up. So I make sure that the last orb I pick up is always different, and I get the trophy after the 3rd power up is used, but still there is plenty of the fight left to do. The second phase is Ripto riding on a metal bull and his health regenerated, but I used the same powers before taking out the bull. However, it's still not over. Ripto then rides a metal bird and destroys the arena floor, forcing the fight into the air. But this is the easiest part of the fight, and once defeated, Spyro finally gets to go to Dragon Shores. And since I've already got the 100%, I can unlock the permanent Super Flame power up, getting the last trophy in the game, and with it, the Platinum. The second Platinum only took 6 hours and 52 minutes from the first trophy to the Platinum, and this was fast enough again to be in the top 100 fastest achievers on PSMP, and has me sitting at 87th for now. Imagine where I would have been if I didn't struggle with Gulp. This now makes 2 Platinums out of 3 done, and it was just over 11.5 hours in, making good progress and leaving plenty of time for the last game, which is a good thing since it was only going to get harder now the longer it goes on and the more tired I get. On to the third and final game. It was the home stretch now, and with how much time I had left, it felt it was almost certain I would get this done in 24 hours unless I drastically failed at something. But as far as the guide says, I still had another 7 hours of gameplay to get the Platinum, and plenty of time to get tired and start making very silly mistakes. I start with Sunny Villa and explore the level to find out I'm not able to get everything on this time in the world because I need another character unlocked for a part of it. So I grab the gems and the eggs I can the level. One of the main parts I remember this game from when I played it years ago on the PS1 as well, and that is skateboard missions in the game. Sunny Villa features the first one, which is where I got some of the eggs in the level, and those were easy. As it wasn't long ago, I got the Platinum in Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 remix, which really helped get those skills I needed for the minigame. The only thing I needed to do before leaving to return then was to defeat all the coward Rhinox for the levels trophy. Once back in Sunrise Springs, I make my way to the next level, and this is locked because the character I need is locked in the cage, and the only one who can free them is Moneybags. But he won't do it for free, so I cough up 300 gems to free Sheila, unlocking a trophy for it. Now she's free, we go to Sheila's Alps, but not as Spyro, as Sheila herself. This is a new gameplay feature added into the game and sees us play through levels and small parts of others as the characters we free. So as Sheila, we are tasked to help goats defeat the Rhinox in the level, so explore as usual, get the gems and the eggs, and Sheila has a smash ability that allows her to break rocks and head past chests. And I need to break all the head smash crates in the level for the trophy, which was the last thing I needed to do in the level, but they were easy to find by using sparks to point me in the direction of the nearest gems. Once back in Sunnyvale again, I now take on the area of the level only Sheila could access to grab the dragon eggs and the gems there. Then once I was done, it was back to the homeworld again, where Hunter explains the glide mechanics to us again, which I really wish I didn't have to do for a third time in a day, but it is what it is. I explore a little bit more of the homeworld, grab another dragon egg, then enter the next level, Cloud Spires. Cloud Spires is plenty to do. We need to turn on the generator, plant sunseed, defeat the bell tower spirits, but for the trophy I just need to glide for 5 or more seconds. So I make my way to the highest point, jump, gliding down to the lower level and earning the trophy. There's Mushroom Speedway next, and the first run is easy. Just get all the objectives, and the pathing is all lined up nicely for us, so it would be very difficult to fail it compared to the ones in the previous Spyro games. I then had to race against butterflies, and to be able to get first place in the race I need to use the stars in the levels that will give Spyro a speed boost, which earns me a trophy when I fly through 4 of them in a single lap. I then go on to win the race, grab another egg, and then exit the level just to see I'm missing something, so fly around it looking for Hunter, take out all the spaceships with his and get the last egg. I then move on to Molten Crater, and here I'm not able to complete the level fully as I need to unlock another character, but he's not available in this homeworld, so I just get the level beaten. But while here I grab a few extra eggs and gems along the way, as well as the trophy for unlocking the locked treasure chest in the level. I only had one level left to beat now in this world before moving on to the boss, and that was Seashell Shore, and the trophy here needs us to battle a submarine. But not just any submarine, a shark-shaped one. And all I need to do for this is grab boxes to get rockets for the ship, then shoot the submarine, getting a trophy once it's destroyed. Simple really. And that's it for the first homeworld for now, so I take the hot air balloon, earning another trophy and landing in Buzz's arena. And here, with the help of Sheila, Spyro takes on the first boss of the game, and all I need to do to beat him is charge him off the platform into the lava. But I failed to notice that he starts to raise a wall of fire after the first time I knocked him off the platform, and this inevitably causes me to fail the first attempt, and I came close to failing my second, but luckily I knock him off the arena before he beats me a second time, grabbing a trophy for beating him and moving on to the next homeworld. Now I didn't want to make the same mistake I did in the first world, so I went straight to Moneybags, freed Sergeant Bird, getting another trophy, and if I would have actually followed the order of the levels I set in the prep for the first world, I wouldn't have made the initial mistake. But I've been gaming for 13 hours at this point, and if that's why I made the first mistake, it also means I'm likely to make more mistakes the longer I played. Sergeant Bird's level now, and here we have to free his comrades while using the new mechanics like flying, shooting, and also the ability to drop bombs. This is the more important one, as this skill is needed to get the trophy, and for that we need to bomb all the treasure chests in the level, and once the last one is done, the trophy drops. With Sergeant Bird now unlocked, I go back to the first world and into Magma Cone to complete the section of the level only he could do, which needed the stone heads of the NPCs in the level to be put back on their bodies using the bomb mechanic, and also an egg found behind a breakable wall. Then the last and final level in the first world to fully complete the homeworld, that first homeworld now, was Crawdad Farm. But this is a level only Sparks can take on, and you can only unlock these after defeating the boss for that homeworld. It is a top down sort of bird's eye view. We fly around grabbing all the gems and shooting at all the enemies in the level until we finally get to the end, which always has a boss fight for Sparks, and the first one is a giant lobster, but with the power-up shots that we get to pick up as we go along, and that I already had for Sparks in this battle, it was nice, quick and easy fight, and once beaten, I get another trophy. Straight back to the second homeworld and on to the next level, Icy Peak. And nothing too difficult here, a bit of exploring and some extra areas, one to chase 2 dragon egg thieves, and even the trophy is easy. All I needed to do was destroy 6 icy things using the cannons, and it was plenty to destroy. I then go and help the ice skater, defending her from the hockey players, and grab the rest of the gems before moving on to enchanted towers. Here I needed to destroy all the balloons in the level, but before that I explore and find another skating area, which at one point had us battle it out against Hunter to see who was the better skater. And I know you're all thinking, obviously it's Spyro, but he still needed to find out, and once I beat him with a nice score difference, he gives me the last egg. I collect the rest of the gems in that little area and move back to the main level, and eventually I swap to Sergeant Bird, grab the last balloon holding a bottle for the trophy, and finish the rest of the level. Spooky Swamp next, and this is another one with a mini boss to beat for a trophy, and again it's nice and easy to get done. All I need to do is charge the bombs he threw, hit them back at him, and defeat the enemies he makes, repeating it until he's beaten, getting the trophy. I'm now 14 hours and 40 minutes in and only have 24 trophies left to earn for the platinum. So the race for the sub 20 hour run was actually looking quite likely and was suggested by my chat. But it was also 1:49 AM and I was still had a good few hours to go, so it could be interesting. Do I get it done in under 24 hours? Do I get it done in under 20? Or do I fall asleep live on stream and fail entirely? Country Speedway now, and the first attempt did not go well. I got the first 3 objectives and then didn't have enough time to get the last one for the 4th group. The second run goes a lot better, still a bit close at the end, but I get all 4 objectives done. The race next, and this time I'm racing against the planes in the level, and I'm going for the trophy in this part as well. The trophy needed me to shoot 5 rockets in one race, which is easy, but my first attempt was awful. So as soon as I get the trophy, I just quit and click retry the race, using everything I can do, even flaming the opponents, and I nearly failed my second run again, but managed to just catch the plane that was in first place with enough time to steal first place from him and be able to get the egg for that. Next was another mission for Hunter, and we had to save cowboys from spaceships, getting another egg when done, moving on to the last level again before I can take on the second boss, Bamboo Terrace. Here, I explore and grab as much as I can for the level, then to find out this can't be completed now and needs another character. So I grab the trophy, following the question mark bottle right from the beginning right to the end, getting the trophy when the last bottle is broken. I then go back and straight into the transporter to the next boss, getting another trophy for using it. Spike is the next boss in the game, and this time the sergeant is helping us defeat him by dropping in power-ups. The first needed to be charged into him, then the last 2 are breath power-ups, and with a few chickens eaten along the way, I beat Spike and get another trophy. Now here I have to take on the Lost Fleet first, as I need to get all of Hunter's missions done before he gets captured by one of the villains in this area. I get everything done in the level, even swim in acid, defeat enemies when in a submarine, getting all the gems and eggs with 100%. I then move on to Honey Speedway, only to realise I didn't get the trophy for the level again. So I'll have to go back for it straight after Honey Speedway. Here I take on the objectives first as usual, and looking back at my footage I can see me getting a bit tired at this bit, as I could see myself making a few mistakes when flying, and on the first attempt I failed as I didn't know what the 4th objective was straight away. So I quit, retry, get all of them on the next run with a lot of time to spare. I then take on Hunter's mission next to run away from a UFO on a ship while avoiding obstacles. It was an awkward camera angle, so I didn't get it easy, but I do eventually get away from the UFO, and then all I have left is the race against the bees, which is really easy, as the trophy needed me to fly through 12-star speed boosts in one race, which is great as this made the race really easy to win. I can then return to Lost Fleet just to shoot down all the vultures using the cannons, which is mainly trial and error to find where the path of the bullet lines up with the birds, and then just keep spamming the shoot button until you hit them, and keep repeating this process for all of them to get the trophy. With all of Hunter's missions done now, I can now free the next character, Bentley, and get another trophy after paying money bags, and then immediately go into the level, Bentley's outpost, this time playing as a big Yeti using an ice club that can smash breakable objects and return some projectiles. And using this club we earn the next trophy for destroying all the totem poles in the level, and once every single one of them is destroyed, that's another trophy done. I then go back to the second homeworld again and finish it up by first going up for the level that couldn't be completed until I had unlocked the Yeti, working my way up a tower, collecting all the gems and eggs in the area, only to realise I missed another part of the level the Spyro could have done anyway, and this involved me protecting pandas from the Rhinox using the super flame shots while riding on a bow. It took me a couple of tries to get it done, as I needed to work out where the Rhinox were going to spawn or drop in from and which ones would charge at the panda first, but eventually I completed the level and moved on to the second level for Sparks, Spider Town. I'm now more used to the movement controls, I get through the level with no issue, but the boss here was actually a little bit more difficult than I thought it was, and definitely more than the first. and I came close to losing a life, but by the skin of my teeth I beat the Spider King, getting myself another trophy. Back to the third world now, and straight into the frozen altars, and here instead of our normal flame breath we have ice breath and can freeze enemies, which can then be used as platforms. And this is also helpful with what the next trophy is, as I need to freeze 12 enemies in the level. I also use the magnifying glasses to melt some snowman enemies in the level, while also getting the rest of the eggs and the gems. At this point, it's very late or very early. It all really depends on what your view on 4 AM is. And I have been awake since 9 AM the day before and gaming for nearly 17 hours straight. To put it bluntly, I was tired. And this next level is a good example of how tired I was. In Charmed Ridge, there is a Jack and the Beanstalk side mission. You need to plant 2 seeds. The first 2 were easy. Walk straight up, spit them in the ground, and I was fine. And so would have been the next 2 platforms if I was more awake and more aware of my surroundings. I instead grabbed the first seed nice and easily, but I'm unable to find the second one. I was convinced at this time it must be in some way secret, off to the side, or on another platform in the level. I ran around the beginning of that level multiple times and had my friend in chat stating that they could tell I was tired and tried to explain where the seed was. I do eventually find it, but when I rewatched the footage, I saw it straight away. I ran past it 6 times, some really obvious, as you can see now, before I found it. I didn't have any more issues, thank God, for the rest of this level, and the same goes for the trophy, as all I needed to do was defeat a giant, which I actually did at the very start of the level. It was on the next level before I could take on the third boss of the game, Firework Factory, and this features Handel and Greta from the previous games, and we have to take on Ninja Rhinox. I do have to return to this level when I unlock the last and final character to 100% it, but in this level there is another mini boss to beat, the Twin Dragons, and this needed the Super Flame and Flight power up to do so. You just keep shooting them until both have been destroyed, getting another egg once done along with the trophy, and straight after that I complete the level as much as possible and move on to the rocket in the homeworld, getting another trophy and landing in the third boss arena. It was now time to take on Scorch, and here we are helped by Bentley. He'll throw Spyro power-ups which are used to hurt Scorch, but we also have to defeat the enemies he spawns in to help him, and the trophy drops as soon as he is beaten and I move on to the final area. This is where I notice now, on reflecting, if I had actually prepared better for this game, or was a bit more awake and read the trophies I had left, I could have cut down the time I spent going for the platinum by a nice chunk, and to be honest, there's possibly even more I could have cut down and saved time on. But as they say, hindsight is 20/20, and I do work out that I can save time at some point. By now I'm sure you can all guess I get it done in the 24 hours, but do I save enough time to get it done in under 20? I start with going to the last character that needs to be unlocked, Agent 9, and get a trophy when he's freed. We then go into his level, which is more of a shooter type gameplay, and I will say now this was a nice part of the game, the adding of the characters to change up some of the gameplay for a level, even if only a small amount, was a nice change, especially after playing as Spyro for nearly 18 hours at this point. I get the level done easy enough, and the trophy in it was also simple, with it just requiring to shoot down the balloons in the level with the aim. It was easy. I now head straight back to the third world for the last lot of backtracking needed. I get the Agent 9 section and the firework level done because I was still on autopilot going for the 100% in all the levels at this point. It was then on to Sparks' level next, and just as in the others, it was nice, simple. These are far from difficult, especially if you go into the boss fight with an awesome power up for Sparks. Melts the boss's health in no time, getting the trophy for beating him and leaving me with 1 world of levels left to complete. I went into the Crystal Islands first, and in here the gnomes have learned some magic, but it's causing a little bit of problem for them, and we need to create some platforms to progress through the level and help to explore, but the rest of it is pretty simple. There's even a whack-a-mole mission for Bentley, which I did fail once, but eventually I get it done, and the trophy here luckily was also another really simple one, and all I need to do is defeat all the crystal bears, which is done naturally anyway when going for the 100%, because I was still going for all the gems in the level. I decided at this point to take on the last boss of the game, the Sorceress, as I already had enough dragon eggs to unlock the fight itself. And here we are helped by Agent 9, who shoots down vehicles and turrets we need to use to damage the Sorceress. and once she is defeated, we get the last boss trophy and beat the game. But we can't stop yet, there's still plenty of work to be done. Now, when we continue the game, we are told by Moneybags he still has a dragon egg and is actually thinking of selling it. So we chase him down, able to take out any frustration we had with him while also getting our gems and the dragon egg he had back, and earning another trophy for doing so. It's nearly 6 AM for me now at this point, and I am exhausted. But with only 5 trophies left for the platinum, I didn't have long left. I also didn't have long left if I wanted to get it done in 20 hours, so I powered on through to get it done. Desert Ruins was next, and explore everything again, but I forget to actually read what the trophy was when I went into this level, and it is actually a simple one. All I needed to do was find both jars with butterflies in the level and break them. Luckily, I decided to destroy them when I saw them, otherwise it was a level that would definitely have seen me returning just to get the trophy again. I can also now take on the last Sparks mission, so I decided to do that next, and it's the biggest one I've taken on at this point. A little bit more exploring was needed to get everything, and I eventually make it to the Mega Pede boss. I unfortunately don't have much health here and do actually end up losing a life. Thankfully though, I do get it done on my second attempt, even if it did take a bit for me to actually get my shots to hit him at the end. But winning this fight earns the last trophy for all of the Sparks missions. I then take on the last flying level, which was Harbour Speedway, and I mean just managed to get all 4 objectives completed on my first attempt. I then move on to take on Hunter's mission, earning a trophy just for finding him in this level, and for this I need to chase a spaceship that leaves green rings to fly through that slowly close, and as we get closer it's harder to read where they're going. So I do fail a few times, but once I have learned the path in the ship takes, I catch it for the dragon egg reward and then enter the race section of the level and exit back to the homeworld once I get first place. I then enter Dino Mines level next, and this is a simple trophy I again get by pure accident, and this is to defeat an enemy with a ricochet shot as Agent 9. But I don't leave the level here, no, I waste more time exploring it for all the eggs and the gems in the level, still on autopilot for that 100%. I continue to waste more time cleaning up all that is left to collect in the homeworld to get the 100%, and just as I'm entering the last level is when I realise I didn't need the 100% for the platinum, because I only actually had 1 trophy left, realizing that I could have actually gone to bed a lot sooner. And the first minute in this level is a great example of why I could have done with going to bed earlier. I am completely exhausted. It was nearly 7 AM and I had seen the sun go down and back up, so I decided to look up how to break the sarcophagi because my brain was not functioning at this point, just so I could get the trophy, as I didn't know and was far too tired at this point in the challenge to even attempt to work it out. But I do get all of them destroyed after seeing what needs to be done and get the last trophy along with the platinum and finish with a time of 19 hours and 49 minutes. Getting it not only under 24 hours but managed to actually get it done in the bonus goal decided in the stream of under 20 hours. Here I was a little bit annoyed at myself in realizing I could have been done a lot quicker, been in bed a lot earlier, but that is a consequence of poor prep, I suppose. And I'd love to say that I'd learn my lesson here and do a more thorough job on my future challenges, but I know that's not true, and you know that's not true. I do hope though that you all enjoyed the video, and I'd like to think you did if you made it this far in, so please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I just want to end saying that I really do enjoy the extra challenges that I've been placing on these platinums, and if you have missed the posts that I've been making, I'm looking at doing more in the future, and I already have my next one decided by yourselves to beat Resident Evil 2 in 24 hours. Although it's in 24 hours, I have actually decided to make a small change on how I do the timed ones in future. And that is that I won't do all of them in one sitting. I will still stream it, but that amount of gaming in one go is a lot. It's also not easy to arrange with other commitments like work, so by spreading it out, I'm hoping to take on more platinum challenges like this for you all. I will do a couple of more in one sitting in future, but they may be a while off yet. I probably still need to recover from this one. And as always, if you have any suggestions you think would be fun, interesting or entertaining challenges, let me know in the comments below, or you can also let me know in my Discord, which I've also put the invite link to in the description. But as always, I will catch you next time.